Hello and welcome. My name is Myra, or you can call me Mercy. Um, Today we are going to be looking at this tarot deck that I spent 2020 creating. This is something that has, been in the back of my mind for years, and it wasn't until a couple of friends just happened to mention, maybe they might make one, that I felt truly inspired to really just do it. I had all this extra time. So it has finally come to fruition, and I'm really excited to share it with you all. I will leave the link for my website in the description, and my Etsy as well. So if you like what you see and are interested in purchasing it, please do. Those links are there. And I'll also be offering a general reading, a timeless reading, once we sort of looked at the cards, and I can tell you a little bit about them. If you're still interested, stick around. I'll be doing 4 timeless readings. I'll try to keep them brief, hopefully keeping this video under an hour, although I don't know if that is likely. So let's dive right in. This deck that I created, I've called the Skeletal Tarot for obvious reasons. The characters in this deck are all skeletons. So that is really what makes this tarot deck unique. Also, I feel like there are a lot of people out there who are intimidated by tarot, who maybe think it's a dark practice, especially if they're from very religious families. So I've tried to sort of take that fear away, and of death as well. If you can't tell, I'm someone who, I don't think that death is a bad thing. And often when we see skeletons, we think of death, we think of darkness. Some people even think of the devil, which doesn't really make sense to me because they're not the same. So sort of my goal of this deck is to take away that fear of death, take away that fear of skeletons. A lot of these cards are very bright, happy, innocent. Oh, this one's so cute, the Page of Cups. So yeah, I was really trying to take away the fear. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I really didn't like making that card. But they all have their meanings. So yeah, I really loved making this deck because every card has so many different meanings, and so I was able to take my own perspective of each of the cards, kind of like the knee-jerk reaction for me of like, this card means this card means this. And so it was very fun for me to translate that into art, and I feel so blessed to be holding this right now. So along with that, this deck is special in another way because there are a few extra cards that I've included. So I will show you those now. We're starting with the Major Arcana here. And where is it? That one's one of my favorite ones, the Hangman. There's a lot of rainbows in this deck. So this is the first double card. This is the World or the Universe card. So I kind of have intended slightly different meanings for both of these, although the World can usually signal the end because it's the end of the Major Arcanas. I've actually added another Major Arcana card that isn't in the traditional tarot that I will show you in just a moment here. But what I have sort of intended with these 2 separate World cards is that this World card takes place more on the physical plane. So this is something that, you're finishing a project that's in the physical realm, or something in your physical world is ending or changing, okay? And then with this version, the Universe, this is more seen as a completion for me in something that is more spiritual, metaphysical, like quantum leaping, overcoming, ancestral karma or trauma, and working in the ether. So this is more so like, for me, working with the universe, and it can even personify, you know, the universe, whereas this would more personify Gaia. You know, if you were to ask, like, you know, who's here guiding me, who's with me, you get this card, it's more so Gaia, whereas you get this card and it's like you're working with the fabric of the universe. So that's one of the first parts of this deck that makes it unique, one of the unique additions. And then you see that was the end of the Major Arcana and it goes into Wands, but if you go to the end, there's another one. So this, I was going to make the back of the cards actually, but then it just felt too busy. So I included it at the end of the deck. This would be the 22nd card of the Major Arcana, which, like I said, doesn't actually exist in traditional tarot. I have called it the Master card because it is the Master number 22. Like I said, this deck was made in 2020, so it holds a little extra weight for me too. But what we're looking at in this card is major completions. If you can already tell from the theme of the snakes climbing up things, I'm very fascinated with the Kundalini energy, and I'm actually in a Kundalini yoga teacher training right now. So quite a few of these cards were inspired with that idea of awakening the Kundalini and moving it up the spine. And with this one particularly, I was emphasizing the tree of life and looking at how the roots and the branches look very similar, you know, like, are we growing up from the ground or are we growing down from the heavens? And is there a difference? Is it all the same? So this card is that Master card of seeing things from a higher perspective. And then one of the Kundalini Tantra book that I've been reading by Swami Shivananda talks about how the point of awakening Kundalini is not to, you know, reach God, samadhi, union with the divine and stay there, but to reach that state of mystical union and then to be able to bring that back down to earth and incorporate it into your life to help other people find their own ways to that mystical union. And sort of that when you reach that point, you understand that it's all a show, you know, like, even when the most harrowing experience happens, you know that, you know, everything behind the scenes is still, you know, it's just the fabric of the universe. It's all okay. It's all, you know, we're just, gosh, how can I say this? We're playing this out on this scale. So something macrocosmic is microcosmic, and it, even if it seems like it holds a lot of weight in this life, it's, you know, it's all just a show. It's just Maya, you know, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful that we get to experience that. So this is my very long-winded way of showing you the Master card 22. And I love how this has been set up too, because we also have right at the beginning, we have the Fool. And this was actually inspired from a dream that I had, and I experienced this path first. And I remember being on this path and just realizing my mortality in this life, and you know, running back to the soul path, to God, the sun versus, you know, the loon path was more, you know, still living through karma, still working out karma. So I love that this deck can start with the Fool and end with the Master card, because it's kind of like, you know, you take the lunar path, and a lot of us are on this lunar path for a lot of our lives, you know, which is life and death, rebirth, experiencing pain in order to learn, you know, hurting others and then feeling bad about it. And so when it reaches a certain point where we no longer feel fulfillment and we turn ourselves over to a higher power, in search of that true fulfillment that, you know, lights us up from the inside with spirit and joy and connection, and then you are in that mystical union with God. So it's like, this is sort of working, we can say this is working the Kundalini, you know, up, and then you reach mystical union, say maybe in this tree, you reach mystical union, you climb the tree, you're at the top, and you see what each path holds. You see that you're part of God, you see that it's all the same, you see that you have a choice if you want to keep doing this or if you want to go this way, you know, and bring back the messages that you've learned from this lunar path. So it's kind of like this path to the left, that's like learning. The left is learning. And then we reach this higher understanding, we bring it back, and that's when we can take the soul path, the path on the right. So you see that the character and the Fool, they're looking in the direction of the soul path. That's the way that they want to go, but they haven't fully made the decision yet. So these kind of cards, they sort of reflect each other. And actually, when you look at the deck, this Master card reflects some of the major Arcana cards, which was really fun to integrate. So on one side, we have the Hanged Man, and on one side, we have Death. Okay, so it's sort of like this person's yearning to understand. You can see they're in touch with the seasons, and you know, understanding that everything has its time, everything is born, everything dies, and there is this state beneath all of that is everlasting and that is eternal. So it's almost as if a part of us dies when we become merged with God, when we reach samadhi. This old part that's full of heavy karmic ties, falls away, and we have the opportunity to emerge with this new wisdom that is looking at the world with wonder, you know, an enlightened being. You can see from his halo where he can pick and choose which experience he wants to have, because he's still on the physical plane, and he's still connected to the tree of life, as you can see too, but there's this lightness to it, you know, whereas here this person is seeking. They want to understand, they want to you know, understand why they're experiencing all this pain. They want to, it's almost like they're yearning, like they're needing something, you know, like there is lack, and they're trying to fill it. And here it's like this person is so filled up because they know God. There's no lack. They just are. And they're so glad to be experiencing life in this body, knowing that they'll return to source when it's all over, and they'll just do the same thing again, whether it's here or in another form. They'll just continue to experience. So I think that is about all I have to share with you guys about the deck. Again, it was just really fun for me, and you know, it's not perfect. Like like right here, I think I'd written in the wrong numbers. You can see it's like a little smudged, and I went over it and did, you know, the correct number. It was actually really funny. I just realized as I was going through them just now that where is it? The Tower card, I wrote the Roman numerals in wrong. So it's supposed to be 16, but what I made it look like is backwards. So I don't know if it got flipped or what, but you know, the meaning is still there. I kind of like that it's imperfect and each card is unique. You know, this is all done with my own hand, using watercolor and pen. So, you know, it's not perfect. It's very human, but it has these messages below it that are kind of reaching beyond the usual human consciousness. You know, like a lot of this deck is very consciousness based, looking at the mind. You know, a lot of this deck focuses on mind, perspective, like creating reality with your mind. And yeah, so if that interests you, again, a lot of it's looking at like Hermeticism, Eastern philosophy, and then just like everyday, you know, relatable things as well. You know, there's another Kundalini one. That one's really fun to me. See, it's also very fun and light. You know, there still are some dark cards, like this Five of Cups is generally a very sad card, you know, so I'm not going to say this deck is void of any, you know, harsher meanings, but for the most part, I've tried to keep it very light, happy, bright, you know. Again, Three of Swords, that's never a happy card, but, you know, that's just kind of how it is. Life is both. So yeah, we'll dig into this now with, I'll just pull a few cards for the timeless reading for those of you who would like to stick around. So we'll go based on these crystals. I don't have any cards pulled for them yet, but we'll pull them right here on the spot. So we have a Labradorite here. I never know how to pronounce this. It's like Chalcedony, something like that. I believe this is an angel quartz, and this is Malachite. So if you're drawn to any one of these in particular, just take note now. You are welcome to, obviously, you're welcome to listen to all of them if you want to. If you want to look more at the cards and see how I'm reading them, you're welcome to do that. So let's start with Labradorite. So those who chose Labradorite, what is this timeless reading telling them? For the greatest good of all beings everywhere, what does the Labradorite group need to know when they're watching this? Let's take a look at the life of whoever chose Labradorite. What do they need to know for the greatest good of all beings everywhere? Okay, so you got one of these sad cards. You may be going through something emotional right now because the two cards I see right now are both cups. You may have lost something recently, someone, something. It could be a job, it could be a pet, it could be a person, but it's almost like in a state of mourning. You see the things that you've lost. These are 3 cups here. So it also could be a relationship that maybe involved a third party. Again, that's not for all of you, that's for like maybe 1 or 2 of you. And they're mourning what they've lost, and they don't really see the 2 cups that are still full behind them. And then there's it's urging you to move on with the 8 of Cups. And you can see there too, 4 of the cups are fallen and broken and empty, but there are still 3 that are full. So you're in a place of, you know, mourning what you've lost, but then acknowledging what it is you still have. So allow yourself that time to mourn, but then make sure that you can shift your perspective into, okay, well, I have lost this and this and this, but I still do have, you know, this. I still do have, you know, family that loves me. I still do have, you know, these innate talents. I still do have stability, or, you know, even if you have to go deeper to, I still have hands that can cook food. I still have arms that can hug people. I still have feet that can feel grass between the toes. I still have skin that can feel the sun. You know, you may have to dig extra deep, but that's what I'm seeing here, is you've lost something or a few things that have really hurt you. And these aren't major arcanas, luckily, so it's not hopefully going to have like a huge ripple effect on your life, but it is something that you're moving through right now. So shift your focus to the positive so that you can move forward and really follow your true north. I see this as the North Star, so it's like all the things that have fallen away were just things that were kind of false identities. Like I kind of picture the Tower card, like and you see the moon here too. So it's like maybe they were karmic, and they were karmic things that you went through so that you could learn and grow, and they've fallen away, and maybe you don't yet see the blessing in that, but really what it's doing is freeing up space for you to experience your true self in freedom and bliss and independence and faith. And what you're moving towards is we have the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups to me is very dreamy, how I've portrayed it. I hope you can see that. I portrayed it as a little girl, assuming it's a girl because she's wearing a ballerina dress. It could also be a boy that likes to wear ballerina dresses, but she's looking at the fish inside the tank and kind of daydreaming. You know, it's very innocent. There are drawings on the table. There are a couple of books, it looks like from school. It's a beautiful day outside. There's nature, and they've drawn on the walls. I'm drawn to the color pink right now, so kind of like the higher heart and unconditional love. Maybe what you've lost was keeping you separated from that higher expression of love. So you're being returned to innocence. You're being asked to look at things from a different perspective. Maybe if someone hurt you, you're looking at how they're like this fish in this bowl, you know, and that's just all that they know. you know, they're not a free fish that's in the river or in a pond or something. They're a fish in a bowl, and you can admire them and you can love them, and that's the best way to move forward and move on, is to see the innocence of it, to see that, you know, everyone is taught things by their family, by the stories that they're told, by what they've learned in school and everything. So you're returning to that place of innocence in the way that you're viewing something, and seeing it from a place of love and understanding. And also, you're being called to work from a place of imagination. The Page of Cups for me is a very personal card because I kind of depicted how I was when I was a kid. You know, I'm a triple water sign and a Pisces, so for me this was very much kind of returning to childhood, returning to your roots of what did you do? What did you do when you were a kid? You know, what brought you joy? How did you fill your days? Were you drawing? Were you reading? Were you making play pretend? Were you doing, you know, we used to do like newscasts, me and my sister, like fake newscasts. Would you dance? Would you climb trees, go in nature? Would you play with animals? You know, what did you do when you were a child, you know, before elementary school even? Because that is truly, like, that's your soul before it was indoctrined and told what it was. That was your truth, you know, before society could get to you, when you were still fresh from the womb, fresh from the ether and the cosmos, and you knew yourself so well. So you're being called to go back and reflect, and reflecting on that and allowing yourself to do those things will be really beneficial in helping you move forward. I did just think of a book while I was talking about this, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. She gives prompts every day. It's a 12-week program for reclaiming your creativity, and it's not just for artists, it's for people who also want to live a more creative and beautiful life. So I would also recommend that for those of you who could benefit from that. Creativity stems from the sacral, which is also the inner child, so it's kind of like an inner child healing and reclaiming what you loved in your youth, and allowing that to be your truth without judging yourself, and allowing you to do those things that you love innately, that you're just so drawn to, and doing those things will help you heal, you know, the sacral and the heart. It'll help you move forward in a more positive, unconditionally loving and innocent way that'll be filled with a lot more joy and authenticity. Like, I feel like the thing that you lost was what you were told you wanted or needed in life, or that was false, built on you know, trying to please somebody, please your parents, please society, please your friends, you know, gain a feeling of importance, doing something that maybe you didn't love. And this is saying, you know, you're leaving that behind, and this is a huge opportunity to reclaim your truth, what you actually love, what you actually want to do, and in doing that you will heal. So it's kind of, we can look at the Fool card, which has disappeared into the deck now, but it's kind of like you were on this lunar path, and it's fallen apart, and now you get a chance to move back to the solar path. You know, listening to the inner child and realizing that in doing that, your life will improve and the lives of all of those that you touch will improve. So this is really beautiful, and I hope that, you know, obviously give yourself that time to mourn. Maybe you're coming through it already because it kind of looks like a past position. Maybe you're already moving on and maybe a little bit unsure of what you'll find. And this is what will help you tap into it, is, you know, your childhood and who you were when, you know, before society touched you. So thank you, Group 1, for watching this. You're welcome again to continue watching if you'd like, but we are going to move on to Chalcedony. Okay, so Chalcedony Group, let's look at what we've got for you. For the greatest good of all beings everywhere, what does Chalcedony Group need to hear right now? For the greatest good of all beings everywhere, what are they going through? What do they need to know for their greatest good and the greatest good of all beings everywhere? What does Chalcedony need to know? Show us what Chalcedony needs to know. Nice and clear. Nice and clear. What's the truth? What does Chalcedony need to know for the greatest good of all beings everywhere? Whenever they see this, What do they need to know? We need to know. Wow, okay. I don't want to take all of those. I will peek at these guys, but the first group had 3 cards, and you have about 4 cards right here. So we have Death, 2 of Wands, Temperance, and the Chariot. That's great. It looks like you're moving on to something from these. You're leaving something behind, planning where you're going to go next, and using your thoughts to guide the Chariot. I'm going to keep these over here. So we have the 10 of Pentacles, the Emperor, the 9 of Pentacles, and then the Judgment card. I mean, these are all really positive, and it's, okay, I'm just going to lay these out because we've got 4 and 4. So your reading might be just a little bit longer. I'm going to move these up. So maybe, yeah, let's pair these up because I feel like that will make even more sense. So something you can already take note of is that this is probably a huge time for you, and that's why you got so many cards, because of these 8 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are major arcanas, and then you have the 8 and 9 of Pentacles. So first of all, holy shit, whoever you are and whatever you're doing, it's working. You know, it looks like you're creating immense magic in your life, and you're working with some universal forces that are helping you get ahead. And I see that with the Temperance card. I see that with the Judgment card, working with the heavens almost, you know, like heaven granting you what you wish. And then the Chariot card, which I've depicted, again, like I said, it's a very mental deck, you know, using your mind to create. And you can see this, the Charioteer doesn't have any reins. They're purely using their energy to move this chariot forward, to kind of telepathically connect with the horses that are pulling it. It doesn't have wheels either, it's floating through space, so that's really potent. Let's see, we have the Death card aligned with the 10 of Pentacles. We have the 2 of Wands aligned with the Emperor. We have Temperance aligned with the 9 of Pentacles. And we have the Chariot aligned with Judgment. So for some of you, not all of you, because of the first 2 that are paired up, you may have gotten an inheritance. Because the 9 of Pentacles can talk, or the 10 of Pentacles, excuse me, can talk about inheritance. And then we have the Death card right there. So you may have lost somebody in your family. Maybe you didn't even know them that well. So maybe that's why you're able to keep this positive mindset about where you're going, because these are all really freaking positive cards. I'm drawn to the 2 of Wands, where it looks like he's contemplating the world, you know, so it's like all this has happened and it's caused this person to kind of question things like, what is true? What is real? You know, and it kind of feels like a quest, almost asking the universe what is real and true. Traditionally, this is about planning, you know, making plans of where to go, what to do. So it could also be that, you know, you've gotten all of this money, and you're, you know, looking at the world like, okay, like what do I want to do with it? Do I want to travel? You know, do I want to, maybe you're like writing a book and want to use the money to publish it, because I see on the table they've got, you know, like this quill, pen and paper. Maybe you're being drawn towards the water because through the door I see the water. It looks like a coastal area somewhere. But it's drawn you into a place of contemplation. And the reason that I love death, again, you know, like my deck is skeletons. The reason I love death, which is this card, is because it does make us think. You know, it makes us think about mortality. It makes us think about what's the point. It makes us look at the world in a different way of impermanence and accepting that impermanence. And I also see here, you know, with the Emperor card, it's like the sun is emerging behind him, you know, and someone is really standing in their power, which perfectly leads to the Nine of Pentacles. I see Nine of Pentacles as the strong, independent lady who don't need no man. So I mean, if you're a guy too, it still works. It's like you're independent now. You know, you're able to do it alone. You're able to be your own boss. You're able to build this empire, which, you know, I feel like that's her empire behind her too. You're able to finally build what you want to build because you have these resources now. So then we have the Alchemist card. The Alchemist is turning water into wine. It's temperance, moderation. So you may also be called to, you know, just be conscious of where you're spending all this money now that you have it. Make sure that you're not just like, you know, ordering out for food every day or buying a bunch of shit that you don't actually want that's temporary. Make sure that you're filling yourself up from the inside. With this Emperor card, that might be the key here. Make sure you're filling yourself up from the inside, working with your solar plexus, working with your core and your abs even. This is like a Shaolin monk, so discipline. Having that discipline will really help with the results here. So if you can be disciplined with yourself and make sure that you're living in moderation, you can expect total success. Okay, so that might mean, you know, like contemplating the world, like, I have all these things, what do I do with it? Instead of being like, I'm gonna fly to France, and then I'm gonna go to Germany, and then I'm gonna fly to Asia, and I'm gonna see all the beaches, and then I'm gonna go to Indonesia, and I'm gonna see everything there, and then I'm gonna fly to South America, and you know, instead of just like wasting all of these resources that you've inherited or come by, if you can tap into that self-discipline and really make sure that, you know, you don't have to like limit yourself into a place of scarcity, but just being aware, you know, you have all this extra time. So instead of, you know, maybe before you had to work, you know, 40-hour weeks to get by, and then like you didn't want to cook and you didn't have time to do the things you want to do. Now it's like you don't have to work that 9 to 5, 40 hours a week anymore. You can do whatever you want. So you also do have all this extra time, which means you can like cook for yourself, you know, you can do some meal prep so that you don't have to order out food every week, and tap into the joy of it. That's part of this alchemy, is finding the joy of being in that present moment with whatever you're doing. And just know that that'll bring you more success. We have the Judgment card here and the Chariot. So it's almost like however you carry yourself now is what you'll get. So if you spend all your money now, you won't have it. And then, you know, what you get will not be as great. But if you can channel all of the energy that you have for creating the life that you want, creating the project that you've been wanting to do, building that business you've been wanting to do. And if you focus most of your efforts on that, so even if, you know, you don't have the old job you used to not like and you have all this time to do the job that you do like, make sure that you do that instead of falling into, you know, like laziness or just, you know, not doing it because you don't have to and because you have the support. So if you can really channel this energy into doing what you love, you can trust that it will bring like huge rewards. Okay, like huge rewards, especially if you can work for the greatest good, because I see this as like a gift from heaven. You know, the angels are there with their trumpets, it's Judgment Day, these hands are coming down from the clouds with a gift for you, and it's like, if you can work with heaven for the greatest good, you're guaranteed that this package will hold something that you love and that you've wanted for like ever. That'll also fill you up from the inside because you've been filling yourself up from the inside. So that's part of this alchemy. What you're doing now is what you'll get. If what you're doing now is exhausting you and not making you happy, then you're going to get more of that, you know, especially if you're focusing on that. But if you're filling yourself up from the inside, you're doing good, you're living in moderation, you're doing what brings you joy, you're accepting life as it comes to you, and playing the alchemist, you're guaranteed success. And you're going to be helped. You're going to have even more assistance, okay? So this already feels like a gift from God, and then you're getting more of a gift from God. This is huge, okay? This is the Victory card. In one of my other oracle decks, this is shown as victory. So whatever you're hoping to achieve, you're going to achieve it. You have extra resources to do so now. Just make sure that you tap into that inner power of yours, instead of falling into laziness because you already have everything that you need. Okay, so you can expect great things. I'm very happy for you, Chalcedony group. This is really beautiful, and yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy it. You're living in a place of absolute prosperity and abundance, and it's not on accident. It's very much so on purpose to help you with your path in life. So thank you for watching. Again, you're welcome to continue watching if you'd like to just see more readings, more cards, to explore this deck. But if not, thank you for being here, and yeah, enjoy your blessings. Okay, so now we are going to look at the Angel Quartz group. For the greatest good of all beings everywhere, what does the Angel Quartz group need to know? What's happening for them during this timeless reading? What does God want them to know? What does Great Spirit want them to know for the greatest good of all beings everywhere? The Angel Quartz. What does God want the Angel Quartz group to know during this timeless reading? Whenever you see it, what's the perfect thing for them to hear right now for their greatest good and the greatest good of all beings everywhere? Okay, so I see the Six of Swords. I see it in reverse. Not moving on from something, not giving up. Yeah, don't give up. Keep going. Let's see if we can get you one more here. Keep going on what? What will it bring if they just keep persevering, keep going, choose to not give up too soon? What will this Chariot bring them if they choose? Okay. Beautiful. So we have the Ace of Wands, the King of Cups. At the bottom we have the Empress. I also saw the Queen of Wands while I was shuffling. So this might be a project, you know, it might be an artistic project or a passion project or something that you're being called to not give up on. Something that you've been nurturing. I almost see like a plant. I'm picturing like the Seven of Pentacles. Like you've been growing something, and maybe you're in that space where you're like, should I stay or should I go? You know, like it's been really hard. It's been difficult. It's a lot of work. You know, should I just move on and give up on this? But because this fell out this way, I feel like Spirit wants you to know to not give up. You know, don't move on from this. If you're considering moving, maybe don't move. Look at what blessings there are where you are right now. And then you'll get success, okay? It's interesting because I see that for I see that for some of you, but the Six of Swords, when it's upright, is about moving, and the Chariot is about moving too, and then we have a new start here too. So maybe you know, take a look around you and see really where you're at, if you are wanting to move forward. If you really are feeling called to move forward, okay? And to move on and to seek something new and better, really look at where you're at first. Look at where this storm may have been coming from. Look at, you know, why the waters don't feel calm, and see if that's something that lies within yourself before you move forward, because your journey will only be as clear as you are in your own mind, right? This charioteer, they don't have reins. They're using their mind to telepathically move these horses. So look at where your mind is, because wherever your mind is, wherever your channels are, again, if you're into Kundalini, we see it twice here because we have Ida and Pingala, Ida Pingala, the lunar and the solar channel. Actually, we have that multiple times here. The moon and sun, and then these two snakes are both, you know, the lunar and solar channels in the body. So you're being called to find a place of balance. One of my favorite exercises for bringing about this balance is Nadi Shodhana breathing. Nadi Shodhana, it's like alternate nostril breathing. You can look up someone doing it for you on YouTube. But it helps bring these two channels into Sushumna, which is the central channel. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is if you are wanting to move on, make sure that you're doing so from a place of balance, and stay where you are until you find the still waters inside. Because if your waters are still, going nuts inside and you choose to move on, you're going to bring that with you and you're going to encounter a lot of the same. Okay, so um, make sure that you are finding stillness and that you are finding balance. If you're a lot in your mind, find a way to use your physical body to come back into the present moment. If you are always doing something, going, find stillness to balance it, and then you won't have to work as hard. From that place of stillness, that's where you can create, and that's where you can clear the way for this victory. It's from that place of stillness. It's not always just about doing and doing and doing. Sometimes we just got to slow down, set the intention for what we want to see, get ourselves clear, get ourselves relaxed, and then creating from that place will be much better. Okay, so wherever you're feeling that imbalance, make sure that you bring yourself back into this place of, I don't want to say homeostasis, but working from your central channel instead of like so much action, so much going on, or like so much happening in my mental body. Bring it into that place of peace and stillness, tranquility before you move on. And then you can expect this beautiful passion project, this thing that you've created, I think, from this place of stillness. I've already said a lot of this deck is talking about how everything is the mind, and like yoga, meditation, whatever it does to connect you to God and raise your kundalini. So this is something that you've created from that space of balance, and it helps you touch God. The two snakes are reaching source. I also see this as the source card, which you can call Great Spirit, you can call God, you can call it that great ocean from which everything came. So what you're moving towards is a new passionate beginning, something based in your truth, something based in what you're really passionate about, something based in what you really love, and something that gets you really excited. And as you move towards this, as you find that place of balance, and as you take control of your own life through that place of balance with whatever practice it is, again, it could be going for a run, going for a hike, getting still, doing a silent meditation, doing a past life regression, whatever. You create from that place, you tap into the ocean of consciousness, and then you're creating from that place then on. And then what we have after it is the King of Cups. He is like the optimum, ultimate of emotions and love. I see the King of Cups as a humanitarian, so you may create a way that you really, really love doing this thing, and it just helps the greater good, just because you're doing what you actually love instead of working from a place of imbalance, working from a place of I need to achieve, I have to do. You're like, no, I'm gonna get still, I'm gonna do what I love, and in doing that, it's gonna help the greater good. That's what I see here. So it might be extra important for you to be near water, because I see water both here. Maybe going for a walk and meditating on the water will be really great for you. That's one of my favorite ways to get still and connect to God. But yeah, it could also lead you to, this isn't for all of you. It could lead you to a person. Maybe you've been in a relationship that's been very, choppy waters, getting you in your head, and you're wanting to move away from it. But again, as you get still, as you take care of yourself, as you tend to your own waters and help still the waters of the body and the mind, and you create, then you attract this person that is even better for you and even more loving and even more respectful, that honors you and sees you. So this is really beautiful. It's a person, it's a state of mind, a state of being, and it's all connected. You could be embodying the King of Cups and finding your favorite way to help. There's a little animal here, so maybe it's working with animals. But it's tapping into, from that place of stillness, what actually makes you happy, and then doing it, and in doing it, coming across this person, place, or thing that's just perfect for you. Emotionally fulfilling, respectful, conscious, and kind. Okay, so this might be a major transition for you since you have a major arcana card here and then like this huge beginning card, which is really beautiful. So yeah, just get still, get really still for this, and tend to your internal balance before you start on whatever this new beginning is, and know that that stillness will catapult you towards this beautiful new beginning. So thank you, group 3 Angel Quartz, for watching. If you want to continue to watch, you're welcome to you know, watch more of the cards, more of the interpretations. But thank you for being here, and I wish you the best on your journey. Okay, so now we'll look at the Malachite group. Welcome, Malachite group, if you're just tuning in. For the greatest good of all beings everywhere. Ooh, what does the Malachite group need to know? This is beautiful. Okay, what's Great Spirit's message for Malachite for their greatest good and the greatest good of all beings everywhere? What's the message for Malachite? I see you're being called to have more fun. Why though? I need them to fall out on the table if I'm actually to take them. Great Spirit, for the greatest good of all beings everywhere and for Malachite's greatest good. Wow, gorgeous. So what are they moving towards? What is Malachite group moving? Wow, that's a bunch that just flipped over. That's too many. I'm sorry, I'm not going to read all these, but we have Judgment, the Lovers, the Hanged Man, the Fool, Queen of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, and 6 of Cups. And then the Page of Wands fell to the ground. Those are all really beautiful cards, but it's just too many for the reading I'm doing, so we're not going to dig into those. But what's on the other side of this for the Malachite group? What's on the other side of this Tree of Life for the Malachite group? As they've merged, what they're moving towards. Okay. Okay. You know, this is really interesting because there are some harder cards here, but when this all started, like, this first card is really beautiful. It's like being with your friends, enjoying a good time. It could be partying even. But then it's like, that was like, with this card coming up, it's kind of like that's what, you know, helped you learn and grow. And it's like you're leaving that behind. Okay, and with this on the bottom, it's like you're moving to a place that's more innocent. So like, I kind of feel like this is actually related kind of to the Devil card. The Devil card is not bad, but it's just like, you know, the way I've pictured it, it's like someone hanging out in the woods with like a bottle of liquor, you know, and there's like a naked lady there. So it's kind of like maybe your darkness has been in the way that you have fun. Like maybe it was a toxic way that you were having fun that was hurting you, that maybe you know, you enjoyed it and it was good while it lasted, but you're coming to a place of realizing that it's no longer serving your greatest good. So I think of like drinking here. It could be using drugs. It could be any toxic way that it is that, you know, this partying might influence you. And you're moving towards a more innocent way of filling yourself up. This is like kind of the childhood card. You know, you can see like the tire swing and like these little like childlike people. So you're reclaiming like a childlike innocence. You know, like maybe this was a phase in your life where you were exercising, you know, I'm an adult, I can buy cigarettes, I can buy alcohol, you know, I'm meeting all these drug dealers or whatever, you know, like I can go to the bars and dance, and you're just realizing that that's not the answer, you know, like maybe you wanted to be like an adult and like this for so long, and you've had the experience of it, and now you're moving back. Like this like merging with God is bringing you back to a place of innocence, and it's really quite beautiful, even if it's not unnecessarily easy transition, you know, the Master card doesn't mean that it's easy, but it does mean that a huge transition is taking place in your life and you're choosing a higher path. So what are you moving towards? We have the Ten of Swords. I'm going to move this up here. We have the Ten of Swords. We have the High Priestess. We have the Tower. We have the Queen of Cups and the Six of Pentacles. So you're choosing a higher path for yourself that's more compassionate. I think the hard part of the transition is what we see on top. We have the Ten of Swords, we have the High Priestess, and we have the Tower. So we already have 3 major arcanas here. So this is a huge transition for you. For like this card in general in this deck is like huge transition. You know, it's like beyond even like the world card, you know, this is like beyond the universe card, you know. So you're gonna have some pain to work through at first, looking at the ways that whatever this was that you were doing, I'm gonna say it was drinking, because these people are like, you know, drinking and partying, you know, going to the bars, whatever. You're gonna have to look at why you did it, what you were avoiding and what you didn't want to look at. But what's good news here is that you can see that the person with these 10 swords, they're the one holding the sword, you know, like they're the one that has pinned themselves to this building. They're the ones that have pinned themselves to the ground, you know, stuck a knife through their heart. So it's like there is a lot of pain here that, you know, this is no longer helping you get through, you know. You're no longer just getting high to forget about it. You're no longer drinking just to forget about it. You're no longer going to the bar to talk to random people because you're just like so lonely and don't like being alone. You know, you're really looking at it now and you're uncovering what's been below the surface with the High Priestess. You're looking at what's been beneath it this whole time. What have you been keeping hidden? What secrets do you have in your own mind that you just haven't talked about, that maybe you've been numbing with alcohol? And can you let them fall away with the Tower card? Can you release them? Can you let yourself go down the rabbit hole of your own emotions and your own trauma and your own pain and fully process it instead of numbing it, which you used to do? And I can see that you can. You know, you're coming to a place where you're in this transition from this doesn't actually fill up my spirit and my soul. And, you know, when I stop doing it, I feel all these heavy emotions, and that's what makes it hard to not do it. But you'll benefit greatly from, you know, choosing this. As you know God, you know that, you know, this, you know, you can know God in this way, but it's like the Fool card, you know, like this is taking that lunar path to know God through pain and addiction and darkness. And, you know, maybe you've had this moment of sort of enlightenment of seeing, like having these realizations of, you know, these people in my life that I know from partying, they're not really my friends. You know, they're addicted too. They'll do what they need to do to get what they need. You know, they're also numbing themselves. Do I want to be this example for the people, for the youth, and for the people in my life? Do I want to be this example of numbing it instead of looking at it? And you're moving towards, yes, actually looking at it, actually working through it, delving into those painful emotions, going into the rabbit hole of your soul. And how will you emerge? We have the Queen of Cups and we have the Six of Pentacles. So this is very caring. It feels like a very heart energy, and not just like this is like upper heart energy, like unconditional, like real unconditional love, the love of God, really loving yourself and knowing that you have to love yourself to love others, and just like being in the ocean of consciousness and really seeing it and loving it and putting love into it and letting yourself merge even deeper into this union with God. So you can even see this as being at the top of the tree, almost like, I feel like these 3 cards is like you kind of, you know, say this is at the roots. This is at the roots of why you're seeking, because this has been keeping you feeling disconnected. And what's at the top of the tree is this pain that you see when you meet God. You see all this pain, and then as you come back down to earth after merging, what you want to do is help people. And you'll be working with God. As you help people, God will help you. As you help yourself, God will help you. And you'll probably feel yourself being more altruistic, more unconditional, and just actually wanting to give from a place of, seeing the divine light in others, seeing God in others, and knowing the truth that what you do unto yourself, you do unto others. What you do unto others, you do unto yourself. So it's really quite lovely. It's not going to be easy. It's really not. You're reclaiming yourself. You're reclaiming this little child who's gone through a lot of suffering, and you're helping them heal. You're reaching back into your childhood and delving into those memories that you tried to forget. And it's kind of like a dark night of the soul vibe that I'm getting here. But just know that there is the light there, and what you are moving towards is this really high state of love that does come from loving yourself first. So I wish you so much love and support and guidance and light during this time. And just know that you're not alone, that even though this transition may be difficult, it's worth it, and you'll feel so much more filled up with love and light once you go through it, rather than if you were to continue to do the same thing and avoid the pain that you haven't been wanting to look at. So I'm really proud of you for making this decision, and I know it's not easy, but it's worth it. So thank you for watching, and again, link to my website and my Etsy are in the description. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I also do offer private readings, and you can find that information on my website. So thank you so much for watching. So much love to you. Thank you.